How's it going, man?
Good. How are you?
Good. What are y'all filming? We're doing a YouTube video. Yeah, nice. This guy is an American legend. Okay. Yeah, so we're right at Franklin, nice. And we're gonna do a video, man. It's gonna be awesome.
What's the legend? I'm sorry, I don't know.
He's an automotive legend.
An automotive legend.
That's right.
Hey, that's totally cool.
Don't tell anybody.
Don't tell anybody. Yeah.
Yeah, you were just supposed to stick it in your pocket. But
yeah.
I can't get it on your belt for some reason.
Yeah. Too fat, probably. There you go.
I'm here with Sandy Munro, and we're at Franklin Barbecue. We just had a helping of delicious brisket.
And?
Pork ribs.
And?
Sausage.
And two kinds of sausage.
Two kinds. The jalapeno cheddar.
Jalapeno and the normal one.
Yeah, the normal one. And then we have 3 sides of sides. So give us your review first and foremost. What do you think of Frank?
Well, I'm going to give you the review of Grace.
Okay.
Because Grace is our culinary expert.
Okay.
So she said this is the best barbecue she's ever had. Plus, she ate maybe just one, but at least one rib.
Nice.
Which I saw her gnawing on it, and I said, "You're starting to embarrass us." So she put it down. And yeah, no, I was very happy. This was really, really good.
Yeah.
I don't know who said that they're the best in Texas, but I agree with them. Yeah. I think they are the best in Texas.
They're fantastic.
Definitely the best I've ever had.
And it's one of those things in Austin where you can go anywhere in Texas and you'll find incredible barbecue, you know?
Yeah.
And we're very fortunate. But the more important thing, if you can believe it, is that Tesla's coming out with the Cybertruck. What are your takeaways from what you've seen so far?
Well, first off, I'd like to thank Rich Otto for getting me down here. That part was brilliant and definitely not expected. I'd also like to thank the Tesla folks for letting us drive the vehicle. All in all, I've been a Cybertruck fan since the first time I saw it. I like the new style. It's totally different. Actually, if you look over here, you can see that this is an Airstream, kind of a, what do they used to call those things?
Like a trailer.
Yeah, it's a vacation trailer. And when these came out, they were pretty revolutionary as well. My God, who's going to buy something like this? And eventually, a lot of people did. Now people aspire to these things. So at the end of the day, I think that that's what we're going to have here with the Cybertruck.
Okay.
It's going to be a product to aspire to. And I'm hoping to get one as soon as I possibly can. And I just think it's going to be brilliant.
Yeah.
Period.
So how much are you sort of exposed to its capabilities, its performance relative to the competition? Where do you think it's going to land from that perspective?
I think it's in its own. I think it is in its own little sector.
Okay.
Like everybody's comparing it to the F-150. I don't think that I want my Cybertruck compared to an F-150 because, quite frankly, an F-150 is the true work truck. Other people have compared it to the Rivian, and it's definitely not a Rivian. A Rivian is more for the average person to, pick up their groceries or what have you.
Yeah.
And then others have compared it to the Hummer. And to me, the Hummer is in its own little category as well. That's not going to be a car or a truck I'm ever going to want. It weighs too much.
Yeah.
I don't like the look. It's kind of old-fashioned and whatnot. So for me, I see 4 different types of vehicles that have nothing to do with each other. And I think that the Tesla Cybertruck is going to be for a type of person that I think I am. So someone who likes the outdoors, someone who wants to have something that's going to haul their quads around, somebody who's going to be a hunter and can sleep in the back, in the bed.
Yeah.
Somebody who's okay, if I took the Rivian out into the woods, I'm pretty sure I'd wreck the paint job. I'm never going to wreck a paint job, not on that stainless steel body.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't see anything that maybe somebody could use it in other places, but for me, the Cybertruck doesn't really have a competitor. it's in a different field.
I see.
Completely different.
Do you ever see it being adapted as a work truck in the long term?
There's somebody going to do something to make it a work truck for sure, but I don't think that's its primary market. Its primary market is going to be like a new market. You always find people that will use, like for instance, this thing here, who knows? Maybe they've got waiters that sleep in here. I don't know. I can't really tell you, but at the end of the day, there's always things that are repurposed. And that might happen. How you doing?
Hi.
And that may happen, but I don't think the primary owner is going to have it as a work truck.
Got it.
It just, I don't know. I just don't see that happening.
Is that a range limitation? Is that a feature limitation?
No. The range is great. There's nothing wrong with the range. This is going to have the longest range, and you can get an extended range, which will stretch it out even more. And that to me is that's a big deal. But for the most part, the average American travels no more than around 40 miles per day.
Yeah.
So on that kind of average, I don't need to have something that's going to be 700 miles, but I will get an extended range simply because I'm too lazy to go over and plug in.
Sure.
And that's what I see as a deal. I don't think the range. I know that the range is longer than the F-150 and the Rivian. And certainly, I don't know exactly about there's so many different variations of the Hummer that I don't know which one I'd compare it to.
I think 280 to 300 is the top range model one.
And that's about what everybody is. This one is going to be considerably more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's very exciting for somebody like me, because one of the things I always hear from the other side, so the people that I've been talking to that are not so much believe that this truck can perform well, is that one of the things that they were always concerned about is like, well, you can't make a truck that's actually going to be usable. You can't make an EV that's actually going to be usable. And it seems like this, we kind of see this started to trend away once the Rivian came out with their solution.
Yeah.
Kind of proved to folks that, hey, you can have a truck that's 400 plus miles.
Yeah.
And now it seems like Tesla is going to try to take it one step further.
Well,
and really,
based on what I heard, that they're going to have somewhere around 300 miles with the extended range if you're towing.
Oh, that's fantastic.
That is fantastic. And that's kind of like why I'm looking at it. But again,
that's fantastic.
Even at 200 miles, 200 or 300 miles, it's closer to 300.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm kind of like a normal human being. I have to stop. There are biological things that have to happen. Eating and peeing is two of them. So at the end of the day, I think that having the ability to do that is great.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you'd like to be feeling very comfortable if you're going to go into the woods.
Yeah.
And I would probably stop, load her up, or, charge up, and then go in and make sure that I can get back out. If I've got a trailer or something like that, great. I could feel very comfortable. No problem at all. But I have been with guys that underestimated how much gasoline it was going to take. And I've been in the same kind of situation where, you know what? Hey, I'm not pushing this son of a gun. And just because you were too dumb to fill her up.
Yeah.
So,
especially if you're middle of nowhere America, you're going to have the same exact issue as an electric vehicle.
Exactly.
Because you're not going to have a place to fuel up. There's a few things that we can learn about the 48 volt system that they put in the truck.
Yeah.
Is there anything you can talk about why that's a big deal? What are the things that you've learned?
Well, 48 volts has been something that everybody's talked about for a long, long time. Basically, for about the first, 60, 70 years that we had 12 volt system, they went from 2 6-volt batteries and they went to a 12 volt. And that was big stuff.
Yeah. And
that was in the 50s. And then from the 50s until now, we've been running on 12 volt systems. And everybody hates them. They're heavy. There's a lot of things that we can't do with them. So Tesla moving to a 48 volt system is a very big deal. Now, what I know is that they seem to have no problem whatsoever in getting all the things that everybody has told me has been a problem. Sensors, connectors, on and on and on. There's no problem. If Tesla has no problem getting these componentry pieces, why in the world would anybody else have a problem? Yeah. So for me, 48 volt is really good. The other thing is you can do something called command over power, and that would allow you to get into multiplexing. So you'd have a module that would be, let's say, on the door, And that module would open the doors, would roll the windows up and down, and anything else you wanted to have happen inside there, all it had was a little box and one wire going to it. One 48-volt wire. And from there, I could run everything else. And so this is a really big deal because that gets rid of a shitload of wire. A tremendous amount of wire disappears when you can go with that. Like right now, a door harness is about an inch in diameter.
Yeah.
Okay, and you pull it through, and it's a lot of struggling. Sometimes what you do is you'll scarf the wires, or they'll break. I mean, it's a lot of issues. So by having this multiplexing system, you've got a much better way of getting the job done.
Gotcha. So I'm hearing 3 benefits from that. You get ease of manufacturing, right? So it becomes a little easier to put wires together.
Hours go down considerably. Yeah.
Gotcha. Weight reduction.
Yes.
What about a cost? Is that also a cost reduction as well?
Well, one of the things that they used to say all the time was, well, multiplexing costs more money because a little box, and but that little box is somewhere else in the car. So they would say, "Oh, that was free because it's over here. Now we have to put it. Oh, now it's expensive." So there's a lot of different ways that you can skin a cat or kill a program, and one of them is by saying, "Oh, it costs too much," and everybody is really in tune with, if it costs too much, we can't do it, and they just run away. So that's kind of what has happened in the past. I was a big advocate of multiplexing when I was working at Ford.
Yeah.
It never happened. And it never happened because there was always somebody who could figure out some way of killing it. So Tesla's moving in a good direction with that.
Gotcha.
And I bet you dollars to donuts, bet you dollars to beef barbecue, that's everybody else is going to go to it. Just like everybody else is going to the new, well, and that's the other thing too. We talk about wires. The high voltage wires are going to go to 800. So 800 is the...
You can go ahead. No, please.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
don't worry about us. Yeah.
So 800 is going to be the new standard. Everybody's going to go to 800. Some people jumped into it early, like Porsche. They had an 800 volt system. But really and truly, I'm not 100% sure that everybody's going to be thrilled with the prospect that they think they're going to be getting.
Okay.
It's not going to be that good.
Okay.
It's not going to be over the top. Oh, now it only takes me a second to charge. No.
Yeah.
For a bigger battery, it might help you out, but for the normal size batteries, it's no big deal at all.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, 800 volts is coming in. Great stuff. Everybody's happy. And with that voltage, it's easier to push the power in. So
that's cool. And that was something that the company has been hyping up for a little while now, that 48 volt system, and now we're going to be able to see it in person.
Well, 48 and
800 volt for sure. And then I'm so excited to see you turn that sucker down once you get yours.
Yeah.
Hopefully
the first one is not getting torn down. That's going to be mine.
Okay.
We'll tear the second one down.
Nice.
So.
Materials was another thing that you wanted to touch on. That was interesting.
Yeah. The way that they're doing the stainless steel is a little different than what I thought. A lot of people heard me say that it's going to be a press brake, and it should be simple.
Yeah.
The only problem is you get bruising with a press brake. So what I found out is that the material is using something, they called it a different name, but really what it is, superplastic forming. So what you do is you score the backside of the material that you're going to bend. You put that on a table after it's been heated up, or sometime it has to get heated up. And it comes to just below critical temperature, what's called the plastic state. Once it's in the plastic state, it's sitting on an air hockey table in reverse. Instead of blowing the air up, it's sucking the air down, and then it just bends, because it's like semi-solid. Like, say you get butter, it's got its form.
Yeah.
But when you slice or put the butter knife into it, it cuts easy, simple. Well, that's kind of like what superplastic forming does.
Interesting.
It moves really quite simply, and it doesn't induce stresses.
Okay. So is that gonna be would you say it's a game-changing sort of breakthrough in the way materials are handled for vehicles, or do you think it's just an iteration on
No, it's been used. I mean, we use it for a lot of things.
Okay.
Superplastic forming is one of the key ways that you make airplanes,
Gotcha.
aircraft, and a whole bunch of other things for that matter. And usually you use it on parts that you really need to change a lot.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it's not a huge deal, but it's certainly the first time I've ever seen anybody use it on like 3 millimeter. We know that it's going to be different thicknesses, so 1.5 millimeters to 3 millimeters thick.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Anything more about the exoskeleton? Because I know like they said it was an exoskeleton.
Yeah, and I don't agree with that. But
okay.
So I will I'll hold my. I mean, it's their show right now.
Yeah.
But for me, an exoskeleton is like the airplane that I got sitting in my at the shop that we've got right now.
Yeah.
The exoskeleton is there's nothing on the inside. So it could be that, it's just semantics. Somebody says potato, I say potato, that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, for me, it's not what I would think of as an exoskeleton.
Gotcha.
But still in all, it's pretty damn rugged. If you can fire a machine gun into it, that works out pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah.
It serves the purpose.
Yeah.
And then lastly, steer by wire is another thing that seems to be a pretty big deal. Help us understand why that is.
Well, you've got 320 degrees lock to lock. That's pretty good. So, that's pretty good. So at the end of the day, it also changes its characteristics depending on how fast you're going. So I don't really want anybody to, that kind of is a problem.
Right.
So the steering, and by the way, it also has rear wheel steering.
Yep.
So you can pretty much turn on a dime, or at least on its own axis. So these are two good things that I think are going to help the safety and make it a whole lot easier to park, because that is still a fairly big truck to kind of wield around.
Yeah.
And having rear wheel steering is that helps out a lot.
How does that compare to say an F-150 or like your typical truck, the steering system in the CYBERTRUCK versus those guys?
They don't have rear wheel steering. Normally rear wheel steering is reserved for like bigger things like buses.
What about the steer by wire?
Steer by wire, nobody's got. Everybody's scared to death of it.
Okay. And why are they scared of it?
Lawyers.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Lawyers, they have their own rules and regulations, and they'll come on TV and look sad and say, "Oh, that guy killed this guy." Well, not really. He probably killed himself. However, they've killed industries in the past. That's what happened to general aviation. The reason it's dead is because lawyers were allowed to sue companies for guy had a heart attack. I got to sue him.
Yeah.
Maintenance wasn't done properly on the airplane. We should just leave that part.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I probably will. Yeah.
But
so
anyways,
the safety, lawyer thing.
But the thing is, everybody was kind of saying the same thing about self-driving, right? Then Tesla brought it out. And where'd the lawyers go? Well, some of them basically have tried to sue without a heck of a lot of success, because they also put one other thing in there. Oh yeah, surveillance. And you know what? That kills lawsuits. Man, if you've got a video and it says you did this, not that, lawyers don't like that. They like it so there's some ambiguity. They'll find some fool in the jury, and their client will get a shitload of money for making a mistake.
So it's actually surprising to hear that, because I wasn't aware that steer by wire was such a controversial thing to put in a car.
It's in every aircraft.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as an F-18 or like the new Joint Strike Fighter or anything. They would never dream of having a whole bunch of mechanical jumbo you couldn't do it. It'd be impossible.
Yeah.
With steer by wire, we've now got the opportunity to avoid crashes tremendously. This would be, and again, that goes back to edge computing. So getting rid of latency is a real big problem. I don't want to have it so that it's a millisecond. I need it like instant. And Tesla's further along than everybody else on edge computing, except for aircraft. So if you look at, like, say, fighter jets, commercial aircraft, whatever, heavy aircraft, these all use steer-by-wire. They don't. Wow. I mean, I can remember when we took the binnacle out of, I think it's called a binnacle, big giant round thing that was in the MD-11. We showed how we could get rid of it by going to steer-by-wire. I mean, you could put 10 extra passengers, or you could fly an extra few hundred miles.
That big of a benefit just moving to that. Wow.
Weight is a big problem in anything that moves. I mean, if you don't want it to move, build a pyramid. That's plenty weighty and it doesn't move. But if you want it to move, weight is your enemy always. Yeah.
Interesting. So I think what my takeaway here is that I had the suspicion when I saw some videos of the Cybertruck, people were driving it around, and I could see. I think when Franz took his a few months ago to one of the shows, I saw him, like, the way when he turned the steering wheel, what was it, 180 degrees or so, or 120 degrees, I saw the wheels just go real quick, and that's sort of that quick ratio that the steer-by-wire gives you. So do you think that with a combination of a low center of gravity and a suspension system that seems pretty robust and unique for that type of vehicle, do you think it's going to offer driving dynamics that are going to surprise people?
Oh yeah,
that's kind of what I'm getting from.
I'm telling you what, anybody that takes the F-150, the Rivian, or or hopefully the Cybertruck on the road, there's an instant, if they know how to drive, there's an instant appreciation for the new driving techniques that you've got. Now, the Cybertruck is going to change all that, because now what you're doing is you aren't impeded by a bunch of mechanical mumbo jumbo. You're going to have a little electric motor that's going to sit on the steering rack, and it's going to move, and it'll move faster than you can think. And I think it's going to help avoid accidents in the future. It's going to make it a lot easier to park, a lot easier to steer. It's easier all the way around. Yeah. Everything is going to be better with self-driving, with
steer-by-wire.
Steer-by-wire.
Yeah, I can't wait for the first Cybertruck at Nürburgring.
I probably won't get that opportunity, but I'm sure that if they bring out, if VW brings out some old diesel, they'll be able to trounce it. Yeah, pretty sure.
That's awesome. That's so awesome. Well, thank you so much, Sandy. I really appreciate your time.
And remember, we have the same birthday.
Yes, we do. January 19th.
There we are.
Birthday brothers.
Yep, that's right.
Thanks again, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye now.